Welcome everyone to the Module 4 lecture. In Module 4, we'll be learning how to write a speech. For Module 4, we'll be basically taking the essay writing skills that we learned in Module 2 and the speech skills that we learned in Module 3 and putting them together so that you can get practice and learn how to write that speech in a way that it's going to be easy for you to transition that from the writing phase into actually presenting the speech. So to start off, I have a brand new example that goes through the full speech process, and I'm not going to cover the whole speech in this lecture. However, I do want to cover some of the most important points and then highlight some of the things you can do to help yourself prepare to memorize and present the speech. So starting with the introduction, I made some basic notes within it just so you can see my thought process when preparing it. I added some lines here so I know that I need some form of like a dramatic pause, as well as added some extra parentheses for hand gestures that I do and like the attitude that I'm going to have while doing it. So, here, let me just read through this so you kind of have an understanding of what these mean. I normally don't like to admit this, but I think I might be happy. Yes. In an age where fake happiness is the new norm, how dare I choose to be genuinely happy? Some of you might ask me, why do I choose to live such a dangerous life? Filled with smiles, warm embraces, and personal development? Well, I'll tell you. I'm blessed to have people that care about me. I'm more understanding of about who I am, and I take time to enjoy the little things in life. So as you heard, these changes that I made to the structure of the essay really helps me remember when I need to emphasize certain pauses or be a little bit dramatic or where I need to do certain gestures with my body. These are more so just for reference. As you practice the speech more, you'll naturally get a feel for when you need to do those, as well as like times here where I didn't put any dots or anything for a pause, but I knew that in order to keep up with the pacing, I slowed down when I read this just to emphasize the point so that the listeners really understand what I'm trying to say. And then you can also see that even though I adjusted the structure, it still has all the requirements for a basic essay, which is the introduction, where gather the audience member's attention by saying, I normally don't like to admit this, dramatic pause, but dramatic pause again. I think I might be happy. And it's that I think I might be happy part that's the punchline. I've already got their attention and now I've subverted their expectations. Now they're really starting to get invested in what I'm saying. And that's when I transition over into what would be my primary topic, which is why I choose to live a dangerous life, and in this context, why I choose to be happy. And why I choose to be happy, I provide them with those reasons. I'm blessed to have people that care about me. I am more understanding about who I am, and I take the time to enjoy the little things in life. So that was my introductory statement. Now I'm transitioning over into my first supporting paragraph. But for the sake of this lecture, I'm actually going to skip the first and second supporting paragraphs because they're more so the same basic formatting, as well as some dramatic pauses, some highlighting to exaggerate what I'm saying right there. And I want to move down to the third supporting paragraph to where I switch things up even more. This paragraph has a little bit more humor, and then I actually break it down into bullet points to really, which really separates it from what I was doing previously. So I'm actually going to go ahead and read paragraph 3 just so you can get an understanding of how I would present this speech in this format. Just scrolling up a little bit. I'm actually going to start from a little bit from the previous paragraph, just so we get that full transition into the third one. I would dress up just to walk around the house because I felt like dressing up, but didn't feel like leaving the house. And I was the happiest I've been in months. And that's when I realized I started enjoying the little things in life. In this context, the little things in life is just a broad term for the simple things that make you happy. They don't have to make other people happy, they just need to make you happy. An example of little things that make me happy are as follows: finding an extra piece of my favorite candy in the cabinet when I thought I finished the bag earlier that day. Number two, finding money I left in my coat pocket from the previous winter season. Number three, randomly singing a part of a song, stopping and hearing multiple strangers continue singing that song. Number four, driving to Walmart at 2 o'clock in the morning to buy my favorite chocolate just to finish the entire bag before I make it back home, which honestly defeats the purpose of me going out in the first place. And number five, lastly, the Hawaiian barbecue pizza from the Papa John's on West Tennessee Street in Tallahassee, Florida, specifically between 8 and 9 p.m. on a Tuesday when it's not raining. It doesn't matter how weird or strange others may view something, as long as it's within the confines of the law and good moral judgment, then I say don't let others' opinions stop you from being happy. Accept that happiness in whatever form it presents itself to you. And then next up, you just finish up with your closing statement. Again, the closing statement will just reiterate what you've been saying with your supporting points, as well as putting the emphasis on what your primary topic is. And then that's the end of Module 4 lecture. Next up, you'll be moving on to the Module 4 assignment. In the Module 4 assignment, you're really going to get some practice writing full, entire speeches, as well as I'm giving you different types of formats to really write your speech in, as far as like a persuasive speech or a descriptive speech, as well as what types of speech skills you should add into it. The special thing about this module assignment is that you're actually going to record yourself presenting those speeches. The purpose for recording yourself presenting the speeches is so that you can really get that practice emphasizing and really implementing those speech skills, as well as just getting used to presenting speeches. As far as how you're going to understand how well you're doing for each one of these questions, there is an assignment rubric on the back which goes into how a breakdown of how you would be graded for the introduction, for your supporting arguments, as well as your closing statements, and then how well you use those speech techniques, if you use all of the required techniques or only use some of them, and then if there was a specific topic as far as like format like argumentative or persuasive, there's a section for that as well. And lastly, you'll just be moving, once you're done with the Module 4 assignment, you'll be moving on to the final exam, which is just a comprehensive version of everything that you've learned in this class. It's going to give you a really good understanding of where you're at as far as like all the things you've learned and your ability to kind of implement it on the fly.